He once lit up screens as the affable rebel in Police Academy, his boyish grin a hallmark of 80s charm. Today, with salt and pepper hair and gentler eyes, Guttenberg embraces stage work and indie projects, choosing craft over fame in an industry now driven by algorithms, not laughter. Like a phoenix weathered by fame's flame, Fraser's journey from George of the Jungle swagger to the whale's raw depth mirrors his quiet strength. Once a box office king with a chiseled jaw, now a bearded symbol of emotional gravity, he redefined comeback with quiet grace. From footloose rebel in a warehouse dance-off to a grizzled minter in gritty dramas, Kevin Bacon still radiates that wiry intensity. His angular face now etched with time, he toggles between indie roles and music gigs, proving relevance isn't about youth, but creative tenacity. From the wide-eyed charm of Big to the gravity of Philadelphia, Tom Hanks once symbolized the everyman hero. Today, at 68, his hair thinned and voice seasoned, he commands respect as a producer and storyteller, proof that integrity and empathy never go out of style, only deepen with time. Chachi's smirk ruled teen bedrooms in the 80s, but Scott Baio traded sitcom stardom for private life and conservative advocacy. Now 64, with a more reserved presence and receding hairline, his shift reflects a man navigating changing times on his own terms. Less idolized, but still outspoken. He once wooed Julia Roberts with a tux and cello at My Best Friend wedding. Now 61, Dermot Mulroney leans into grittier TV roles, his rugged jawline softened by time, his romantic aura reshaped into gravitas. His path mirrors Hollywood's shift, heartthrobs evolving into character anchors. Once the sculpted titan of the Terminator, with steely stares and muscles built for myth, Schwarzenegger now embraces weathered wisdom. His frame less imposing, but his presence still commands. He's shifted from action icon to political force and environmental advocate. As Perseus in Clash of the Titans, Hamlin embodied Golden Age masculinity, his chiseled jaw and curls defining 80s allure. Today, in tailored suits and with silver hair, he favors thoughtful roles and entrepreneurship, crafting a legacy beyond classical heroism. Like a gravel-toned ballad, Sutherland's energy matured from Lost Boys' menace to 24's haunted urgency. No longer the brooding upstart, he wears age in his voice and posture, now touring with a guitar in hand, channeling tension into tunes, not time bombs. Once the smoldering swordsman in the Mask of Zorro, Antonio Banderas now radiates a quieter power. At 64, silver-streaked and refined, he shifts between indie gems and voice work, embracing roles with introspection. His evolution echoes a timeless truth. Passion doesn't fade, it transforms. He ruled late-90s teen dreams and She's All That, all tousled hair and effortless charm. Now 49, with a leaner frame and thoughtful gaze, Freddie Prinze Jr. writes behind the scenes and lends his voice to animation, swapping red carpets for creativity and a grounded sense of purpose. A Gen X icon from the Lost Boys, Corey Feldman's wild charisma masked deep personal battles. At 53, with a stylized wardrobe and sharper edges, he channels his past into advocacy and music. His story isn't nostalgia, it's resilience shaped by fame's shadows and his refusal to disappear. Before we continue these amazing celebrity transformations, here's a quick challenge for you. Can you subscribe to Then vs. Now Legends in the next 5 seconds? Smash that subscribe button and join us on this journey through time with your favorite stars. From Thelma and Louise's sunlit seduction to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood's introspective swagger, Pitt evolved from pin-up to producer. His tousled blonde locks now refined, he champions indie voices behind the camera, swapping sex symbol status for storytelling power. As Coach Bombay in the Mighty Ducks, he shaped underdog grit for a generation, his earnest stare etched in 90s hearts. Now, with a quieter screen presence and softened edge, Estevez directs with purpose, choosing social realism over the spotlight's glow. In Heathers, his sardonic smirk made chaos magnetic. Now with slick-back hair and a steadier gaze, Slater leans into voice work and complex TV roles, reshaping his edge into nuance. He didn't fade. He recalibrated for an era that craves layered darkness. He once towered as Ivan Drago, sculpted and stoic, the perfect Cold War villain. Now 67, with silver hair and a reflective tone, Dolph Lundgren blends action with intellect. Holding a chemical engineering degree and cancer survival story, his life now more layered than any role he ever played. From slick seducer in The Getaway to sharp-witted Jack Donaghy on 30th Rock, Alec Baldwin's charisma once lit up the screen. At 67, with softened features and public turbulence, he remains active but introspective, his journey marked by reinvention, satire, and the weight of public scrutiny. Back to the Future's time-traveling teen defined optimism in motion. Now 64, with tremors visible and voice quieter, Michael J. Fox leads with grace, his Parkinson's advocacy eclipsing his film fame. He's no longer racing DeLoreans, but still shaping history through courage and fierce transparency. Once the sexiest man alive, with a quarterback's build and piercing stare, Harmon moved from primetime heartthrob to the stoic soul of NCIS. His silvered hair and measured tone now anchor stories of justice, trading magazine covers for quiet, steady gravitas. Like a granite statue weathered but unbroken, Stallone carries decades of cinematic legacy. From Rocky's underdog fury to mentoring in Creed, his bulk has softened, but his impact endures, now writing, painting, and producing, still fighting on new stages. The Karate Kid's wide-eyed resolve made Macchio a symbol of 80s grit. Still wiry, now with subtle creases and deeper calm, he returned in Cobra Kai, not to relive glory, but to rewrite it, embracing growth and generational legacy in a streaming-era dojo. With a rebellious jawline and brooding stare, Matt Dillon smoldered through The Outsiders and Drugstore Cowboy. Now 61, his face lined but compelling, he gravitates toward indie films and global stories, no longer the teen idol, but a cinematic craftsman chasing substance over stardom. He was the sensitive soul of the Brat Pack, stealing hearts in Pretty in Pink. At 62, his soft features matured and his gaze more reflective. Andrew McCarthy now thrives as a travel writer and director, proof that wanderlust, not nostalgia, defines his second act behind the lens. Once the epitome of suave and GoldenEye, Pierce Brosnan wore tuxedos like armor. At 72, with silver curls and painter's hands, he's traded espionage for canvas and character work, his elegance intact, but his focus now on expression over spectacle, aging with depth rather than denial. From Platoon's haunted eyes to sitcom superstardom, Sheen once burned bright with sharp wit and a reckless glint. Now more reserved, his once boyish face lined by battles both public and private, he leans into reflection, crafting a slower, sober second act. Like a jazz riff growing richer with age, Hawk evolved from Reality Bites poster boy to soulful auteur. His tousled hair now flecked with gray, he drifts between stage, screen, and novel writing, uninterested in fame, invested in art that endures. Once the brooding heart of the Lost Boys, Patrick's intense stare defined moody allure. Today, with a stronger jawline and quieter demeanor, he sidesteps the spotlight, favoring indie scripts and intimate stages, reshaping fame into something far more personal. In La Bamba, Esai Morales brought raw intensity as the tragic older brother. Now 62, with salt and pepper hair and commanding presence, he thrives in layered roles like Mission Impossible. Morales didn't fade. He matured into a force Hollywood finally learned to use with precision. Once ER's heartthrob with that knowing smirk, George Clooney reigned as Hollywood's leading man. At 64, with silver hair and a global gaze, he's a filmmaker, philanthropist, and father. Less about headlines now, more about impact. His cool never vanished. It just found greater meaning. He lit up the 80s with Beverly Hills Cop swagger, and machine gun wit. Now 64, Eddie Murphy has returned with quieter confidence, salt-flecked beard, and father of 10 wisdom. His journey from box office king to measured comeback proves laughter matures, but its power never weakens. From 21 Jump Street's dreamy rebel to Jack Sparrow's eccentric swagger, Depp once ruled with androgynous edge and misfit magnetism. Now with weathered features and softened eyes, he paints, plays guitar, and steers clear of studio glare, choosing expression over spectacle. As Wall Street's Gordon Gekko, he embodied ruthless charisma with slicked-back hair and ice-cold eyes. Now in his 80s, with a dignified gait and snow-white hair, Douglas champions legacy roles and cancer advocacy, channeling sharp intellect into quiet impact. Like an iceberg beneath calm waters, DiCaprio's depth expanded beyond Titanic's fame. The youthful heartthrob now wears age in a fuller face and thoughtful roles, pairing activism with prestige cinema, navigating climate and character with equal intensity. As the wisecracking son on Home Improvement and voice of young Simba, Jonathan Taylor Thomas was 90s royalty. Now 43, largely unseen, with a more private presence, he stepped back from fame to focus on education and direction, proof that choosing quiet doesn't erase impact. He cracked whips and soared the stars as Indiana Jones and Han Solo. At 82, his gait slower but eyes sharp, Harrison Ford still headlines blockbusters while embracing roles with depth. His legacy isn't just heroism, it's endurance, aging out loud in a youth-obsessed industry. With soulful eyes and restless energy, he lit up The Outsiders as Pony Boy. At 58, with a weathered look and indie grind, C. Thomas Howell works steadily in genre TV and film. No longer in center frame, he thrives in the margins, still telling stories, just on his terms. He once growled through action flicks with windswept hair and rebel bravado in Escape for New York. Now, with a snow-white beard and relaxed charm, Russell embraces family films and quieter roles, shifting from cult hero to elder statesman of charisma. From floppy-haired charm in Notting Hill to razor-sharp roles in modern thrillers, Grant has traded romantic stammers for layered menace. His youthful smirk now softened, he leans into reinvention, proving wit ages well when sharpened by time and choice. Like a silk suit passed down with care, Gere's appeal endures through subtle evolution. The pretty woman icon, once all smolder and silver sheen, now channels his calm into spiritual work and humanitarian causes, his grace less visible, but more grounded. From leaving Las Vegas intensity to meme-worthy mania, Nicolas Cage built a career on wild choices and raw vulnerability. Now 61, with grizzled charm and philosophical calm, he embraces surreal roles and self-aware comebacks. Less icon of cool, more avatar of artistic freedom. Once the brainy rebel of Good Will Hunting, Matt Damon became a rugged action lead with Jason Bourne. At 54, with a fuller face and grounded energy, he balances blockbusters with activism and writing. Less about proving range now, more about purposeful storytelling. The squinting gunslinger of Dirty Harry became a filmmaking legend. Now 94, with silver strands and slow stride, Clint Eastwood directs with unwavering vision. He's no longer chasing outlaws, but shaping cinema, proving that legacy isn't left behind, it's built until the final frame. Like a stoic monk forged in neon light, Reeves evolved from Speed's adrenaline to John Wick's quiet fury. His jet-black hair now streaked with silver, he's a cult icon of restraint and resilience, eschewing fame's chaos from motorcycles, minimalism, and mythic roles. From Top Gun's cockpit to Mission Impossible's gravity-defying stunts, Cruise defied time with surgical precision. His face more angular, smile still intact, he steers blockbusters with manic discipline, choosing control in a studio world built on speed. Trainspotting's wiry volatility made McGregor a 90s standout. Now with a fuller beard and wiser eyes, he revisits Obi-Wan with emotional weight, directs small films, and narrates with quiet gravitas, favoring depth over dazzle in a content-saturated age. He held a boombox to the sky and Say Anything, the patron saint of 80s romantic angst. Now 59, with darker roles and grayer edges, John Cusack critiques the system more than he charms within it, his voice now sharper, his path defiantly off-script and politically charged. The fiery glare behind the Breakfast Club's rebellious heart, Judd Nelson once embodied teenage defiance. At 65, with a sculpted beard and low-profile presence, he acts selectively in thrillers, choosing creative edges over mainstream noise, still burning, but with quieter flame. Once the electric pulse of Malcolm X and Training Day, Denzel Washington defined principled power. Now 70, dignified and composed, he directs legacy-driven films and mentors talent. Less about dominance now, more about legacy, shaping culture through craft and quiet command. As Dr. McDreamy, Patrick Dempsey reigned over Grey's Anatomy with tousled hair and intense charm. Now 59, with salt in his scruff and calm in his stride, he races cars and takes selective roles, trading endless screen time for speed, family, and a life lived with intention. Yippee-ki-yay echoed through Die Hard, cementing Bruce Willis as the smirking everyman hero. At 70, facing frontotemporal dementia, he stepped away from acting, but his legacy remains bulletproof. His strength now lies not in lines delivered, but in the grace of letting go. Once the shirtless rap king of Mama said knock you out, LL Cool J conquered both music and screens. Now 57, still muscular but more measured, he anchors NCS, LA and builds cultural bridges. His swagger matured, his voice now one of strength, stability, and staying power. Once the rugged rebel of Lethal Weapon, wielding charisma like a weapon, Mel Gibson now directs from the shadows. His once windblown hair now trimmed, his stare more introspective. Once the icon of chaotic charm, he's chosen the director's chair, reshaping legacy behind the lens. Like a beach anthem echoing through decades, David Hasselhoff's Baywatch-era bravado gave way to self-aware charm. The red trunks are gone, replaced by tailored suits and global stage tours. Less sun-drenched brawn, more cult nostalgia, still surfing fame on his own eccentric wave. From Brat Pack Heartbreaker in St. Elmo's fire to White House charm in The West Wing, Rob Lowe traded youthful swagger for political poise. His boyish grin endures, now framed by crisp suits and podcast mics, navigating Hollywood with polish, wit, and self-reinvention. Once the boyish rebel of Cruel Intentions, with a razor-sharp jawline and Gen X cool, Ryan Phillip now leans into indie cinema and fatherhood, sporting a rugged beard and quieter swagger. No longer tabloid fodder, he's reshaped his path amid Hollywood's changing rhythm. Like a pastel sunset fading over Miami's skyline, Don Johnson's Miami Vice heat has mellowed into a grounded charisma. Once the rule-breaking detective with stubble and suits, he now plays mentors, gray-haired, poised, still pulsing with 80s swagger reimagined for today. Like a vinyl record with soul etched deep, Martha Reeves' voice once led dancing in the street, radiant, defiant, unforgettable. Now in her 80s, with silver curls and commanding grace, she mentors, advocates, and still sings. Her legacy is steady beat in Motown's living heart. As a smoldering firefighter in Backdraft, William Baldwin once lit up screens with quiet intensity and jet black waves. Today, his edge is softened by indie roles and activism, grayer at the temples, but still burning for purpose beyond blockbusters and the Baldwin Brotherhood. Like a melody that matures with every note, John Stamos evolved from Full House heartthrob to seasoned performer. His glossy mane now styled with precision, his energy channeled into Broadway and memoirs, proof that charm can deepen, not dim, across the decades. Once Hollywood's golden boy in Good Will Hunting, Ben Affleck's path wove through fame, scrutiny, and self-discovery. The youthful jawline now carries a world-weary grace, his gaze more reflective, an actor-turned-director crafting stories with hard-earned depth. As the stoic dreamer in Field of Dreams, Kevin Costner once embodied Americana with windswept hair and a steady gaze. Now 70, his weathered features suit his shift to directing epics like Horizon, carving out legacy in a new frontier shaped by streaming and scale. He lifted hearts and Baby in Dirty Dancing with that kinetic grace and soulful stare. Even as cancer dimmed his light, Patrick Swayze's spirit endured in roles that explored depth over dazzle, leaving a legacy etched in movement, masculinity, and quiet courage. Like a comet across 90s cinema, River Phoenix burned bright in Stand By Me and My Own Private Idaho, blending vulnerability and defiance. Though gone at 23, his raw honesty reshaped young male roles, haunting generations who still feel his flicker in modern icons. As Dylan McKay on 90210, Luke Perry defined brooding cool, a tousled icon of teen angst. By his final years, he embraced quieter roles. His look matured, voice softened. Gone too soon in 2019, he left behind a legacy that shaped a generation's idea of dangerous charm. From wisecracking rebel in Less Than Zero to armored icon in Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. transformed not just careers, but himself. His youthful volatility gave way to sharp suits, clipped beard, and quiet power, proof that reinvention can outshine even the wildest rise and fall. Once a smirking storm in Top Gun and The Doors, Val Kilmer's voice now barely whispers, but his presence echoes. Throat cancer altered his sound, not his soul. Behind quiet eyes and scarves lies a fierce artist, still painting legacy through poetry, film, and resolve. From shirtless Calvin Klein ads and Boogie Nights bravado to rosary beads and fitness at dawn, Mark Wahlberg has traded bad boy flash for faith, discipline, and business savvy. At 54, his frame's still sculpted, but his roles now echo grit over rebellion. The Fresh Prince turned global icon, Will Smith once defined charisma with high tops and punchlines. Now 56, with a graying beard and layered persona, he navigates legacy, balancing blockbuster roles with personal reckonings in an age of public vulnerability. Like a chameleon in leather boots, Jared Leto transformed from 90s dreamboat in My So-Called Life to Oscar-winning Enigma. Now 53, with streaks of silver in his mane and an artist's stare, he straddles music and film, thriving on reinvention over predictability. Once the brooding heartthrob behind Brandon Walsh's moral compass on 90210, Jason Priestley now directs from behind a camera, his boyish charm traded for salt and pepper calm. At 55, he's chosen storytelling over spotlight, shaping arcs instead of chasing them. Then versus Now Legends is feeling a bit lonely. 99% of you haven't subscribed yet. Show us some love and hit that subscribe button so we can keep bringing you the jaw-dropping journeys of your favorite stars. And if you're as fascinated by then and now glow-ups as we are, check out our previous videos. Trust us, they're totally worth your time and ours too.